Like many of you, I was looking to purchase an RTX 3080 last week. Didn't matter if it was the Founders Edition or one of the Partners cards, just looking to get my hand on one of those GPUs. And of course, as all of you know by now, the launch was a complete disaster. Pretty much all the retailers, including Nvidia themselves, going straight from either notify me or coming soon to completely out of stock within seconds. Even like one refresh of the page, you went from notify me to out of stock, which is exactly what happened to me. I was like monitoring Best Buy, B&H, Newegg, even Nvidia's website, and everything went out of stock within seconds. The only place I was close was Best Buy. I was able to get an MSI Ventus into my cart, but as soon as I went to check out, shipping was unavailable, which is the only way you can get the card. So of course they had sold out. The website just hadn't caught up yet. And with all the feedback from the gaming community, Nvidia finally came out with some answers to a lot of our questions. One, of course, bots. What was the issue with the bots? How did they let so many people purchase cards, even like up to 40 cards with bots, and what were they going to do about it? Of course, the stock. Was there even enough stock for people to buy? Did they underestimate the amount of demand for the cards, or did they just purely not give partners and themselves enough time? Did they just want to get it out before some of the next gen consoles went on pre-order? What was really the deal in terms of that? So they finally gave us some answers to those questions. So let's go through them real quick and do a bit of a deep dive. So if you head over to Nvidia's Twitter account, you can find this article that they posted, but the first few questions are really surrounding the stock of the cards. The first one being like, I was really looking forward to an RTX 3080, but there was no stock. What happened? The next one being, what was the stock situation? And the last one being, why was the inventory so low? So they're sort of leading you to believe that, yeah, the stock wasn't that great. They answer that question and then they go straight into saying, why was the inventory so low? So they know they had low inventory, yet they still continued with the launch event, and they put it out on the market for people to buy with almost extremely limited stock. So the first answer they gave was pretty much the same one as what they did on the day of the launch, pretty much saying that they had 50 retailers all with stock, but they don't go into say how much stock those retailers had. Assuming based on what we've seen, even with bots getting up to like 30 or 40 cards at a clip, you would think they probably had tens of thousands, definitely not hundreds of thousands of cards, maybe even just thousands of cards in retailers' hands. Even if we were saying 10,000 cards, they publish in this article that there's 100 million GeForce gamers, which means there's 100 million people that are able to upgrade. And being that the 20 series did extremely poor in terms of sales, Nvidia hyped this card up without a doubt more than any other card we've seen in recent history, and they knew they were going to sell a lot of cards. They completely pushed all 10 series owners and prior to buy either this card or the 3070, yet they say that they underestimated demand. I kind of find that hard to believe. I assume there's some really smart business people at Nvidia who are able to run these projections. They know how many people they have in the pipeline that are willing to upgrade. They know how many people bought 20 series cards and how many people bought cards prior. Of course, you can say with the launch of these new consoles that there might be some people leaving PC gaming and going over to console gaming. Still, there's a bunch of people, probably in the millions, if not higher than that, who are going to upgrade to this generation of card. And they continue to say in the next answer that they've been working with partners to produce these cards since August, so they've given themselves probably like 3 or 4 months. Yet they also say that partners are still ramping up production to meet demand. So to launch a card when partners aren't really ready for it, they're not really ready to meet that full demand. And now we're going on almost 4 or 5 days since that launch, and we still really haven't seen too many restocks of these cards. We're hearing from a bunch of different outlets that some of these partners were going to have cards come through maybe every couple of days to retailers, that we still haven't seen that pan out so far. And we still see partners coming out with brand new cards that haven't even released yet. I don't know if Nvidia necessarily jumped the gun or if they just didn't give their partners enough time to get all their designs sorted, get inventory ready. Either way, a lackluster event in terms of stock and inventory. And they go on in the next question to dig deeper into that exact question is, you obviously didn't have enough inventory on hand, so why still launch the card? And they said, that's pretty much how we always do it. Our initial supply is never going to meet demand. But they knew with this particular launch that a bunch of PC gamers were going to upgrade to this series card, considering the 20 series was sort of a letdown for Nvidia last year. they pushed super hard and hyped this card up a bunch to get as much demand as possible, and yet they just didn't meet it at all. So was the low inventory just a ploy by them to then get to the scarcity point where people are all over the place trying to either find these cards and buy from scalpers, which they go on to say definitely don't do. Just hold on, just wait, we'll get more cards out at MSRP. So were they trying to just build this entire media campaign through social media that, even though it's bad news for Nvidia, it's still of course good marketing? They're getting the card out there, they're getting the name out there. So yeah, who knows if it was part of the plan all along, or if it was just purely just lack of planning, lack of inventory, and just a poor decision to launch on that day, or just a really good decision to launch on that day to get as much coverage as the launch event did end up getting. And the next bunch of questions, probably like the next 5, go into the Nvidia store, protection against bots, don't buy from the resellers. Nvidia says it themselves, don't, automatically go and buy these cards and artificially inflate the price of these cards. Just wait, hold off for a couple weeks, maybe even a month or so. It's not the end of the world to wait. I even sold my 2070 Super prior just because I thought I was going to be able to get my hands on one of these 3080s. I wanted to sort of sell it prior to prices coming down when these cards launched, and a lot of people were able to get their hands on them. Who's going to buy, a card that's half the performance for $500 after launch? So I did that. I was lucky enough to have a 1660 Super lying around that I could play on in the time being, but a lot of gamers who maybe have sold their cards already don't have anything to play on and were super disappointed in the launch, which, yeah, that really stinks. But hopefully, stock comes in soon and you can get your hands on a card. But going back, Nvidia has now placed some security protections. Of course, they already had some background security enhancements. They can go in and manually review these orders, which they've done, and they've even said it here explicitly that they're going to, and have already prevented hundreds of cards from shipping to these people who bought these cards with bots. But they've implemented CAPTCHA finally. So when you go and check out from Nvidia's website themselves, they will have that security feature. Most of the retailers still won't, like a Best Buy or a Newegg might still not have that feature. So if you're going to buy from a retailer, bots are still probably going to be involved with those purchases and those new restockings. So Nvidia might be a really good option if you're looking for the FE card. So yeah, if you were one of the lucky ones to buy a card, awesome. I really hope you're enjoying it. If you were one of the ones who are disappointed, just like me, hopefully we get some stock in soon and we can get our hands on a 3080. Or if you're waiting for a 3070, I hope you get that card when it comes in as well. If you guys have any comments about the launch of the 3080 and the limited availability in stock, what Nvidia might have been trying to do or not do, just lack of projections, lack of knowing the demand, definitely leave those in the comments below. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you can get updated whenever I release the next video.